Hello, YouTube fans. This is TheSkullKlown. I want to talk about something. This is basically a response video to resident of Collingwood. Hope I said that right. Or Collingwood. So this is a video response to Judith Meyer's "Faith Can't Be Changed." This is just a response to that. And you're right. You're right about. I haven't finished the video. I'm like 11:03 minutes in. So Judith Myers, right? It just caught me thinking here a bit that yes, her faith can't be changed at all whatsoever. Any version of Halloween that you see, Judith Myers is gone. She's gone, and she's not going to come back. I'll say this right now. What if Lois Strode was born first? I'm sure some people have thought about that, and maybe some people don't like that idea because obviously they love Lois Strode and stuff like that. They love her as a character and stuff like that. But sometimes we need something new, right? What if we got Judith Myers, her being younger? What if she's not born? I mean, well, a baby basically, kind of like what you see in Rob Zombie, but not exactly. I'm more leaning to the original. I might bring stuff from Rob Zombie up because, there are some good stuff in there that you could be like, oh, there we go. Stuff that you could take out in Rob Zombie's remake and put in the original. You'd be like, huh. I mean, it looks the same to me. Just put that shit black and white. It's all the same. Oh, shit. Some people be like, no, it's not the same. The filters are different from different eras. You're right. That would be cool if Rob Zombie's version took the filter from the 70s version and made it look like that. Oh my goodness gracious. That's why I always have a problem with Hollywood sometimes. When they take a movie from an era and they don't do some type of filter and all that to make it feel like it's from that era. If they do Westerns, they should take a filter that was from an era that they kept doing Westerns and put it in their movie. But no, let's have a nice clean look of a modern era. That's why everything looks too produced. No one doesn't like that shit. No one doesn't like it. It's the same thing with wrestling. It's too overproduced. No one doesn't give a fuck. And people are leaving finding something else because we don't care about that shit. Seriously. We don't care about that shit. Why do you think we love horror movies? Why do you think there's such a fan base for horror movies like Halloween? Because it's not too overproduced. It's not. Halloween is not too overproduced. So isn't Chucky, Leatherface, or not even Freddy Krueger. And you could do so much with his ward. I am dead serious. You could make a big budget movie of a Nightmare on Elm Street movie with so many great shit. But guess what? You don't have to. That's the genius of horror movies. Alright? That's why we have so many bad horror movies out here. Well, technically in a spiritual enlightenment way, they're not really bad if you look at it in a spiritual enlightenment way. In a movie sense, you could say it's bad. In a spiritual enlightenment way, you could be like, this movie's actually pretty smart and it should get more watch. Maybe not a rental, but at least watch it and be like, you know what? I'm fine with it. I hate it as a movie, but as a thinking type of movie, I'm fine with it, So that's the point. That's what I like about movies. Again, that's what I like about Halloween. It makes you think. I like thinking movies. I like when movies can make me think. Some people just like to turn off their brain and just enjoy shit. I get it. I get it. I used to be like that too. But I grew up more and I started telling myself, nah, man. Nah, I want to learn from these movies. I want to learn what these directors and these people are putting out. I mean, look at the whole series of Black Mirror. People get literally anxiety from watching that show. Because they're showing true shit. Shit that is feasible that could happen. Or probably already happened. Just saying. But going back to Halloween. Judith Myers, in my opinion, will be a great main character. Alright? I think she'll be fine. I know some people might be like, oh, she kind of sounds kind of a hoish, kind of a dickish. Now, I know some people might look at the Rob Zombie version of her. It might be like, oh, I don't want her. And I'm not talking about the Rob Zombie version of her. I'm talking about the original version of her. And the original version of her, just really depicted of her just probably ignoring her brother just to have sex. And and the thing is, that was a time, that was the era, that was the fear. Basically, if you had sex, if you smoked weed, you were going to die. If you say "fuck you" to the main character, and basically the main character is the main villain, like Michael Myers. Michael Myers is the main character, right? Just like Jason Voorhees and Chucky, they're the main characters. If you talk, we always hear every time someone throws Chucky across the screen, you know that motherfucker's gonna die. It's shit like that, classic shit like that. That's why we love horror movies, and you can really put that more with some Halloween movies if you wanted to. If you're going to make more horror Halloween movies or new horror movies that take that aspect of understanding what horror is. You know, because Judith Myers, when you look at Judith Myers, she's a pilling point. She's a very important character in a way. She is a pilling point for branching off Michael Myers. If she did not die, he wouldn't be in that prison and grew up to become the Shape, basically. And again, going back, I'm not talking about the Rob Zombie version, because in the original version, it shows that in itself. Especially if you see some of the TV scenes that they showed you on TV, you know, when they want to make it longer. I remember seeing those stuff as a kid, and I'm like, yo, what the fuck is this shit? No one talks about this crap. Now people talk about it, and I'm glad they do. The whole scene when you found out Michael Myers' full name, Michael Audrey Myers, you know, I'm still baffled about that. Audrey? Really? The most fearless motherfucker of all I'd had in fear. His middle name is Audrey. No wonder he started fucking killing people. I'll kill people too. Sure, call me Audrey, motherfucker. Oh, man. And the thing is, too, you could have gone to the aspect of his parents, too. The fact that you kind of, like, skip aside his parents, in my opinion, always kind of bothered me a bit. Because you have your kid that killed your daughter, and then you're just going to abandon them. I mean, is that what white people do? I'm not white, so is that what you guys do? I hope not. Seriously, because that shit's like, is that just a white people thing? Like, it's not racist or anything. I'm just like, what the fuck? Because you will never see a black person or a Hispanic person act that way to their child, basically. And I know exactly. I know a lot of people might be jumping in and shit like that and trying to, defend. I mean, argue to what I say, and that's fine. But it's just something that I got to point out. I'm like, is this a thing? You know? Good God! For crying out loud, they depict you literally eating people in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There. It's so crazy. It's so fucking crazy. It's so crazy. It's crazy. Because you guys, look, some people might not want to think as this way, but I always think this way. These directors know what's up. But these directors put things, like your favorite things, like Michael Myers and all that stuff, for us to be obviously entertained. But when you come to the knowledge of all of this stuff, of different stuff, you'd be like, holy shit. But the meaning of Judith is so much in horror. There's a lot of Judith characters in horror. There is. You can look back. Look at Psycho. It's perfectly, and obviously Halloween was inspired by Psycho. A lot of movies were inspired by Psycho. It's a classic. All right, so the original Psycho is a classic. Me and my sister love that movie. All right. I don't know if you don't love that movie, that's fine. I can understand probably because you're probably looking at it at a modern time, but I'm looking at it as like even when I look at it in modern setting, I'm like, this movie is still good. It's like the original Godzilla movie, The original Godzilla movie is a horror movie. Just saying. Technically, all the Godzilla are horror movies, monster movies, but back then. Fun fact, to be quite honest, horror movies back then were called monster movies. They just became horror over time. Oh, it just became a different category. No, it still was in the limelight of that, to be quite honest, guys. Eventually, it changed, if you haven't noticed that. Something I've noticed, That's just me. If you never noticed that, that's fine. But I grew up in the '90s. When I was a '93 kid, and there's just a lot of things I've noticed because I know in the '90s and a little bit of the 2000s, horror was everywhere. All right, I know I'm getting on a tangent, but again, the reason I say that right now, horror was everywhere. And then what we got, Scream, paying another homage to Psycho and Halloween, another Judith character. You see? You see? You see what I did there? You see? This character literally is a lot of things. Literally a lot of things. When it comes to horror, though, she is basically, you could say she's one of the first scream queens. You could say that. You could say that. I don't know how the actress is. I don't know if she's still alive. I don't know. But clearly, she is a scream queen. She has to be part of it. I mean, she's probably not the first scream queen you think of, but she is the catalyst of literally Audrey Myers. I'm sorry, I can't get over that. Audrey Myers, man. Audrey. When I found that name out, when I found that name out, when I was a young teenager, when I was like 13 and 12, I couldn't take Michael seriously a little bit, to be quite honest with you. Just because his middle name. I'm like, really? Come on, guys, you fucked him over there. It's almost like, hey, his parents wanted a girl. It's like, oh man, Michael was cursed since day one. He was, and there's so many theories and all that speculations of how Michael is. There's even a book. I think one of the novelizations of Halloween of Halloween. I don't know if it's in the first one or second one that they talk about the origins of how Michael killed. I mean, not how Michael kills, why he's doing what he's doing. It's just passed down to his ancestors. Every line of his ancestors basically starts killing their family members. And this was, I think that novelization came out way before Halloween 6, I believe. I could be wrong. Again, I could be wrong. But if that is true, then that means Halloween 6 was just grabbing something that was already established and no one didn't know or no one didn't give a fuck. And no one didn't look at it as an establishment because no one didn't, again, give a fuck. Because either they were like, oh, that's just the novelized version and my definitive version is the movie, you know? I mean, I don't care. I'm always like that. I'm like, hey, whatever they added to the book, in my opinion, is still canon to the movie. It's just not in the movie. I'm always like that. I've always been that way. Seriously, even if the book is completely different from the movie, like Harry Potter and Scott Pilgrim versus the Ward, I just think they're in their own little bubble of a bigger universe that is watching that bubble. You know? It's like that. You know? That's how I feel like. It's almost like the DC universe, you know? And that's how I feel like with some of the horror stuff. Right? Some of the horror stuff that we have gotten over the years. Not recently. I'm not talking about recently. I'm talking about like in the 90s and 2000s and a little bit earlier 2000s. They were pretty good. Some of them, I know some people might, at the time probably were like, with them. But now people look back at them and be like, why we can't get this stuff again? Like bad that it's good or bad that it's fun. You know? It's now to the point that some Hollywood executives notice stuff like that and they're like, let's do that. Let's keep doing that. And people are like, no, you're supposed to do it generally and all that. It's not supposed to be forced, basically. And some of these executives make movies and stuff like that make it forced. And it's not just horror movies. It's other things. For example, the Marvel shit. and I love Marvel right now. I do. I know a lot of people say that it's the worst it's been and shit like that. I'm over here just enjoying the ride. Guys, I knew it was going to suck right after fucking Infinity War. I'm sorry. You can't top Infinity War. You can't top that hype. You can't top that highness. I'm sorry, it's gone. It's gone. It was gone. For kind of loud, when I wasn't even hyped for Endgame. That's how much I knew it was over. Alright? I watched it mad later on Endgame. And then another complaint with the MCU is that you don't keep the characters kind of consistent. You're going to keep the characters basically like Tony Stark. And I know some people said that already, but it's true. You're trying to make these people all comedians. Not all of them can. I can understand Star-Lord. Star-Lord, fine. Yeah, that makes sense. Drax, actually, that makes sense. I don't mind that either. But Thor, okay, passable in my opinion. Hulk, no. Hell to the fucking no. You do not make Hulk a comedic shit. He's the most tragic character right next to Spider-Man. Spider-Man doesn't have happy endings. He never has. It's very rarely that Spider-Man gets happy endings. All right? When you really think about it, most horror villains get happy endings. Some of them don't, because obviously they're trying to do a good story, but they come back, right? So does that really mean they really lost? It's just dormant, like Michael Myers. That's what happens in Halloween. You see what happens when I turn things together like that? Because look, Halloween is a franchise that literally started other franchises that literally, if it wasn't for Halloween, none of these other franchises won't be here. It inspired Nightmare on Elm Street. It inspired what is it? Friday the 13th. And most likely inspired Chucky as well, because when you look at the first Chucky movie, when they're not showing the doll and it's just the camera, that's Halloween 101. Halloween showed that shit. And it goes back to Psycho. So Halloween and Psycho paid a lot of shit to a lot of people. It's again going back to, let's not forget Texas Chainsaw Massacre, because some people like to sleep on that, but that came around the time too, in the 70s, I think, right? I know Psycho is a 60s or 50 movie, but still, that's why I always look at Leatherface as literally the godfather of horror, and Michael Myers is the king, basically. Seriously. That's always been me. That's always been me. That's always been me with these horror icons, to be honest. And no one can't topple them, in my opinion. If you want to argue with that, go ahead. But in my opinion, they can't be topped. They still cannot be topped. Leatherface and Michael Myers cannot be topped on their throne. They can't. You know? Right next to them, obviously they have people that are sitting right next to them, like Freddy, Jason, Chucky, and any horror character that you want to insert here, because you probably like them, or probably they did something that made horror great. For example, like what is it, the Pumpkinhead? A lot of people like that movie. When I first watched it, I was like, you know, I liked it as a kid, but when I look at it more as an adult, I'm like, I can see why little kids will like it. You know, to me, it's not like, I don't know. I always look at the Pumpkinhead as like a Cartoon Network movie, even though it's not that at all. It's really fucked up. But I don't know. That's just me. But I know somebody's going to argue with that, but that's just me, and it sounds stupid, and I'm laughing at it because I know it is. So it's like, what? I don't know. It's just something how, you feel sometimes with these certain stuff, and then that's the whole point of horror. Horror movies are one of those things that you could just enjoy and love. All right? There's a reason why there's something called cosmic horror. Cosmic horror is literally I don't to be honest, it's a new thing that I'm fascinated with more than horror movies in general now. I don't even watch the new horror shit right now, to be quite honest with you. I just don't care. I don't care. I just don't care. Yeah, I had fun with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Yeah, that was bad. It was. The Netflix version, it was bad. But I had fun with it. It was so much fun. I had really fun with it. And when I watched the new Halloween movie, I mean, well, I didn't watch the new one. I just saw glimpses and pieces of it. Not online, but from YouTube. And when I saw Michael Myers being frail, being like that pissed me off to the point that I was like, I'm done. I'm done. Why should I watch that shit? I'm not watching Michael Myers literally being frail in the sewer. I'm sorry. I'm not. That's not my Michael Myers. You guys put yourself in the corner when you're like, oh, he more evolves and shit like that. Then you put yourself in the corner and be like, oh shit, he evolves. No, he doesn't. He's actually dying. And then you get this, and then you get some stupid person that wants to take the air of Michael Myers. Oh my god! The only way that would happen if he was part of his family. That's the only way I would accept it. Kind of like what you saw in Halloween 4. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe Jamie would have been, I don't know, psychologically fucked up in part 5, started killing people. Maybe a little bit older if they waited her to be older. And then Michael Myers could be in the shadows and shit like that. And then, however you want to end it, you can end it in both ways. This is probably the stupid way. I think this is stupid if you end it this way. The whole time it was Michael Myers actually killing people and she wasn't killing nobody. Second, that Michael Myers is dead and she's been killing people all this time. Basically. And then you have her in a silhouette taking off the shape mask, basically. And then it's revealed, holy shit, yeah, she actually is doing this. Not to say she want to have her traditional clown outfit now and then, because you have to give that mystery of like, hey, is Michael doing this, or actually she's just doing this because either nightmares. You could play with that. You could do it so much better than probably I explained. And I know someone else probably has, and most likely probably someone has thought about this, you know. So other than that, I look at that. All of that from Judith Myers, in my opinion. For if you want me to talk about Judith Myers, okay, let me talk about this. You might think it's random. Some of it probably is, but if you really crack down and look at it, you'd be like, actually, no, it's not. It's not random. It's actually accurate, and you actually, yeah, it's there. You know, hey, if you don't get it, that's fine. I'm not saying you're an idiot or anything like that. It's just that there's certain things that I've noticed that some people might not notice. That's just it. But the other thing when it comes to horror is obviously the girls, the ladies. Not because they show their skin. It's because they kick ass. Those are the ones that get rooted for, and those are the ones that are remembered in horror forever. And they all, yes, consider scream queens as well. But I like to call them horror warriors, horror queen warriors. That's what I like to call them. At least for time for time. I'm trying to like make that a thing, but that it is way too long. Just Scream Queens always works anyways. So they made a whole series about it, and I haven't even watched it. But I mean, I watched some of it a long time ago, but I heard that was pretty good. But I stopped. So, anyways, anything else I probably could talk about with some of the stuff of horror and Judith Myers? The one thing I could say with Judith Myers is that she's a perfect hoe. No. The thing is, if you do a whole movie about her, right? If you do a whole movie about her, you could have her like I don't know. The thing is, I would just make her younger and have Jamie be older, and that's it. But the thing is, there's the fact too that Jamie is different than I mean, not Jamie. You gotta say that Laurie is different from Judith because Laurie is really not doesn't really smoke weed and shit like that. She smokes weed, but look how she smokes weed in the movies. She sucks. She's a dork. Literally. Literally. So will Michael even have any malice? That's the thing. That's the one thing. We don't even know what triggered Michael to do all of this stuff. And in my opinion, if you did made a movie or a series of it, I think that's the only thing to go. A series, I would touch upon it, but won't go as far. I will wink at it, but that's it. That's it. Because you still need to keep him as a mystery. You need to keep him. He's the shape, guys. He's literally Michael Myers is literally, if you turn the lights off and you have like a dim light, he is the shadow that is in your room. That's Michael Myers. That's Michael Myers. Okay? That's Michael Myers. I don't know why no one can't think. I don't know why Hollywood hasn't they're like this. They're like in Gaga. With like, what are you talking about? I'm like, what do you mean you're talking about? He's called the Shape, right? So turn off the light, and oh my God, look at that. I see a shape. It's in the corner. He's literally a shadow in a corner of your room, man. Because that's what he is. All right. Remember on Halloween 4 when they show half of his face, like almost like a skull, but it's not really a skull. Obviously, it's just his face. And it's funny too. People, well, I always look at that mask as always his face because his real face, I don't look at that face as a real face. It's like a whole different person. It is. It's a completely different person. That's why when Michael does take that mask off, he can run around and do whatever the fuck he wants. No one's not going to notice him because he's not wearing that mask. Because that mask is his face. Fucking love the symbolism with that shit, man. I fucking love it. And obviously they did it more in Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, which I know some people don't like Hobo Myers, but would you rather have Hobo Myers or Seward Myers? That's all decrepit and shit like that. At least Hobo Myers can actually pack a punch and kill on his own without help. Oh, but he had help with his mom. That's in his head. That's in his head. When you look outside of him, he's doing it on his own. Because if you look outside of him doing all of that shit, he'll be doing it on his own. That's why Halloween 2 Rob Zombie was more about the brain of Michael Myers, which in concept is not bad. It's not bad. It really isn't. It's not. That concept is not bad. It's just that it wasn't pushed to the point as it should, in my opinion. Again, that's why I do have a soft spot with the Rob Zombie 2 one. Mainly because it is more creative. It's not like I still wish it did take place in a hospital because I love the hospital theme. It was beautiful. That opening was just beautiful. Then he just killed it with her waking up. When I was younger and I saw that shit, I'm like, should I shut the movie off now? Should I shut the movie off now? I was to the point pissed, like, okay, I should not care anymore. My brain's off here. No, my brain's off. In the shit that I saw on screen, I'm like, huh. This is just a big giant music video. It's pretty. Reminds me of Nightmare Before Christmas if it was on crack and steroids and on shrooms at the same time. That's what it reminds me of, but other than that, huh? Yo, man. But again, that concept that I mentioned with the Rob Zombie version of Michael, you can make that into another movie. You can make that into probably several movies if you wanted to. And then if you really wanted to bring it in, bring Freddy in, then people would have been like, "Oh my God, you went with the brain with Michael, and then all of a sudden Freddy creeped in or some shit like that." It's like, "Oh my God, is Michael seeing Freddy, or this is actually happening?" You know, this is just like crazy shit. People, it'd be something weird. I don't know, something new. Something new. And I know some people might not like the whole versus stuff with horror characters. What is wrong with you? Look at the whole line of Godzilla movies. They're nothing but all versus movies. Yeah, they all suck. Yeah, that's your stupid opinion, man. The reason I say that is because clearly there's an audience for it. Those executives that'll be like, "Oh, there's no audience," but literally there is an audience. Nintendo with Earthbound. Don't get me started with that. I'm not getting started with that. But so so when horror has just been one of those things, guys, that has touched a lot of people in different ways that people can't imagine. And people have been inspired to make like low budget movies. I have. And they're fun to do. Especially when you have a low budget. You'd be surprised when you have a low budget, you'd be more creative of your camera angles. And I love it. I love it. I love it because the camera is the character. The camera is the character. All right? Some people tend to forget about that, but you got to remember the camera has been the star forever. I think the camera, the fake cameraman that is invisible, going everywhere and everything like that. Well, there's always a cameraman there, obviously. Well, but imagine a cameraman physically watching all of that. Should get like a fucking star. Like people would be like, "It's just a fictional character. Fuck it, give it a star." I'm dead serious. It sounds crazy, but fuck it. If we can give Godzilla a star, we can give this guy a star. Come on. Come on. Come on, guys. Godzilla has a star. And Godzilla is also has a license in Japan, meaning that he is a citizen of Japan. That is awesome, in my opinion. Godzilla is a citizen of Japan. All right? He is a person in Japan. Okay? This is how much I love Godzilla. All right? Okay? Seriously, that's why all of the Hollywood stuff that they show with Godzilla and stuff like that was awesome. All right? I know some people, again, look at that. That is horror in itself. Some people, again, going back, I've said that before. A lot of people might think Godzilla is not horror. I mean, if you watch the first Godzilla movie, it is. It's very depressing. If you don't want to be depressed, I probably recommend watching the English dub. I mean, not the dub, the English version of it, which I haven't watched because I slept through it. I'm not saying because it was boring. It's because I watched the original and that one back to back. So that was on me. That's my fault. So I probably should go back and watch it. And you probably can watch some of these Godzilla movies on YouTube anyways. So I doubt you can watch the original free on YouTube. But it is there. You should watch the original Godzilla movie any way you can. Because it is a horror movie. And it's a horror classic, in my opinion. A lot of people like to talk about how many kills Michael has and how many kills have Jason and Freddy have and shit like that. But no one doesn't talk about Godzilla. Most people are like, well, yeah, because he has an extremely amount of numbers. I'm like, yeah, of course. When he's stomping and breaking buildings, yeah, people died. People died. They never showed it. They never told you. But they died. Come on, guys. Come on. It's fun to see these monsters killing each other, but those people died. Okay, when I was watching Godzilla vs. Kong and they were fighting in Tokyo and those buildings were getting fucked up and shit, and then when they threw that and Kong threw that axe and shit like that into that building, I'm like, those people are dead. They're dead. I remember saying that out loud, and my friend was looking at me like, I'm like, yes, they're dead. Those people are dead. How many lives that Kong and Godzilla took? I wonder if they're going to mention that in the next movie, because they probably took a lot of lives. A lot of lives. It's the same thing with the whole Man of Steel movie. That's one of the reasons why I like the I'm not a big fan of the Man of Steel movie. Well, who knows? Maybe I have to look back at it. It's been years since I watched it, so I might have a different mindset. I mean, different opinion now. But that whole destruction thing that was happening, and then it showed you with what with the Batman versus Superman, and Batman was just looking at the destruction. And he's like, "Yo, what the hell?" That right there, that's pretty cool in my opinion. That's pretty cool because that does happen. That most likely will happen. Yeah, you know if you know. So it's wild when you see stuff like that. It is. It's wild when you because it comes to the point that you'd be like, yeah, these people are literally dead. That building fell down and it just you know. So Godzilla deserves some credit to be one of those horror icons that has annihilated people and has a lot of deaths and a lot of counts, a lot of dead bodies to his name. And he hasn't stopped. I bet you right now, he has probably the most kills than any other horror icon ever. Just saying. Just saying. Alright? I mean, for real. I don't think that doesn't include what comic books and all that shit. Oh shit, you know, or fuck. So these horror aspects that we all know, even horrors like even movies like Frankenweenie. Frankenweenie is cherished in my heart. The original Frankenweenie, I love that movie as a kid, and I still love it as an adult. If you haven't watched the original Frankenweenie, watch it. It's on Disney Plus. It is not that long of a movie. It's 26 minutes long, probably less than that, or a little bit more. It's not even 30 minutes long, guys. It isn't. It's not even 30 minutes. It is less than 30 minutes long. All right. The remake of Frankenweenie, the stop motion version, is awesome as well. I was so happy that movie was good. I was so happy that a fan that watched the original and saw the remake, I got everything I wanted and more. Just literally, I fell in love with the remake. I did. And it's one of those movies that is better than the original in my opinion. But I don't hate the original. The original I will always cherish in my heart. And I'll bet you anything you have movies like that are light movies, light horror movies. Think about it. Look at Nightmare Before Christmas. That's somewhat a horror movie. It's not gory or anything like that, but it has horror aspects. It has horror themes. So it's considered a way of horror. Coraline is another good one. In my opinion, I consider Coraline a flat out horror. In my opinion, that's just me. People can argue with that. People can, do as you will. But for me, I consider that shit horror. 100%. Are you kidding me? That shit, I haven't read the book. I haven't. But I heard the book is just as well. So that's awesome. I heard obviously the book is more disturbing than the movie, as it should be. As it should be. So, as it should be. It's always kind of reminds me of Hansel and Gretel. That also is a horror. You see? Stuff like that. Horror has been around forever, guys. Horror has been around forever. Hansel and Gretel is a fucking terrifying story. You have a fucking witch that wants to fucking cook kids so she can eat them. They were telling you back then, there's strangers out here that will eat you. They were telling you that even as a kid. All right? Seriously. That's why I learned from Hansel and Gretel. You see? You can learn a lot from horror movies. You can learn a lot from stories and horror and shit like that. That's why I love this type of genre, guys. This type of genre is so it's something that you could just chill with. It really is. Because it's real. It doesn't hold back. It doesn't. And it shouldn't hold back. It shouldn't. It shouldn't. Why should it hold back? Some of the stuff that it's not holding back, it's speaking some truth. And some people don't want to fucking see it. But yet you're seeing it because you want to watch a horror movie, baby. Because that's what it is. And I love it. I fucking love it. Alright? It's one of those things that it's just one of those things that's just amazing. You gotta like you gotta think of an aspect of like horror is not like I know some people like to watch some horror just to be scared. But I say that right now. That's trying to lower your vibration. I'm saying that right now. But if you can go beyond that, I know I have. Because to be honest, guys, I watch so many creepypastas. That's another thing that we should talk about, some horror stuff. I watched so many creepypastas when I was a teenager that I'm literally inflated with horror in general. The only thing that gets me now is literally gory anime for some reason. For some reason. But as a kid, when I was younger, I saw that and it didn't do anything to me. But now it does. Now it does. Now it does. Because I guess I just imagine the whole crunches and all the bones and shit like that inside. So I'm just like, ugh, you know? I don't know. So that's just me thinking. But the thing is, I would think of that, but not with horror. You know? It's funny. It's like you get fucked up with that, but you're a horror, but you watch horror? It makes no sense to me. I guess it happens, man. It just happens. So I guess maybe that's one of the reasons why I haven't watched any horror movies, because I don't know if I probably will feel that. But probably not. I doubt it. You know? So, hey, if it does, then that probably shows me I probably shouldn't watch no more horror movies anymore. I can always watch Cosmic Horror or read it. Cosmic Horror is great, to be quite honest. If you haven't searched out what Cosmic Horror is or seen what kind of Cosmic Horror is, we'll see what type of horror Cosmic is. A lot of is. Then you might find some intrigued by it. I don't know if you will like it, but if you do like it, then I'm glad you find something that you like. Obviously, the biggest cosmic horror is obviously Cthulhu. Obviously, that's like the one thing that everyone's probably gonna see and watch or even go to, because that's probably the first thing that people think of when they think of that. You know? And there's a reason why it's called cosmic horror. There's a reason why it's called cosmic horror. Okay? So, sure, I know people go crazy around here. I mean, you won't go crazy by seeing a cartoon character having all tentacles and stuff like that, like you see on The Simpsons, like those aliens that have the tentacles. You won't be scared of seeing that, but you'll be scared if you see that in real life. It makes no sense to me, in my opinion. That's just me. That makes no sense in my opinion. That doesn't. That really doesn't. That never actually comprehend with me. I'm like, really, guys? They put this shit in your face, and then you're going to be in shock when you see it? Idiot. I don't know what to tell you at that point. Either you're naive or you're clueless. That's just me. All right? Either that or you just want to deny it because you'd be like, oh, that can't exist because certain things or something that. And all I have to say is that who told you that? Who told you that? Remember, we've been lied to here. All our lives we've been lied to. I don't have to get deep into that, but you guys know. Alright? Seriously. So, and that's even hard in itself. Seriously, not learning true history about America, man. It's fucked up. Fucked up. So, going back, and not the one that they teach you in school, because what they taught you in school is complete bullshit. So search for yourself, and you be in awe of what the fuck what you just saw, what you witnessed. So, anyways, the horror stuff, like, so some of the horror stuff, dare I say it? This is coming from a so-called color person. Okay. I live in the hood. Say that right now. And back then I used to live in the suburbs. And there was a brother that used to live right next to me. And we were just into horror shit, man. All of us are into horror. Why? Because we love that shit, man. We love it. But in a subconscious way, it's something else. But I'm not going to get deep into that. But we love it. We do. We love it. We do. We love it. There's a reason why we love it. Okay? There's a reason why I love Nightmare on Elm Street. Nightmare Before Christmas. You know? Just the whole synthetic of the whole thing that you see in that movie is just great. You know, that's why I like the whole synthetic that you see in also in Frankenweenie, the what was it? The stop motion version. Also the remake. I mean the original. So stuff like that. Art styles like that I like too a lot. And it fits perfectly well in horror. Alright. That type of style is in the Cabin of Caligari, I believe. I haven't seen that movie, but I think I do have it. So I'm moving, so I don't have none of my stuff here. So it's in my friend's house and shit like that. But I say this right now. Horror is one of those things that will never go away. It will never go away. It will never go away. It is timeless. Even when we all gone, even when we are literally even when we come back to nature herself, horror will still be there. It will always be there. Different types. There's different types of horror. Some are crazy and fucked up, and some people don't want to see it. Others are actually pretty whimsical and not that horror-ish. Some are. Some still have that horror aspect, but not horror-ish because they just have a synthetic style, basically. In art style, basically, of it. You know? It's like that. Almost like, again, going back when we look at Halloween compared to A Nightmare Before Christmas. You know, it's like that. So, anything else with horror that I could talk about? Because I love talking about horror movies. I think the old classic horror stuff, like Dracula, the Wolfman, these characters have been retold and still being talked about in movies to this day and shows. It's kind of sad that Freddy and Jason and Michael and all that stuff can't be the same. Because there's contracts that go with them. They're not public domain. They're not. These characters aren't public domain. One day they will be. But right now they're not. They're not public domain. Frankenstein, the Wolfman, the Mummy and shit like that, Dracula, they're public domain. But these other characters are not. And there's another difference with those characters too. Some of those characters that I mentioned, Dracula and all that, have books to them that are old as fuck. And the horror movies that we're talking about here really didn't have books until the movies came out. They only had the movie. Or sometimes they release the book before the movie so people can get an aspect or an idea before they watch the movie or something like that. I don't know. Or it comes out at the same time as the movie, basically. From all promotions and shit like that. So I think that's it. That's all I can say about horror. Horror is just one of those things that just belongs in the hood. No, but it fits well in the hood. I'll say that right now. I mean, I live in the hood. Seriously, literally, Leprechaun in the Hood. I think there was 2 of them, right? I can't believe they made a second one, but I think the first one was fine enough. You know, the fact that they made a whole second one about it, I'm just like, why? But the first one was actually pretty fun. It was. The second one, I gave up at that point. When the second one happened, I was just like, come on, guys, you don't have to do another one of these. That was the whole point of these Leprechaun movies. You didn't have to make sequels to them but Leprechaun in the Hood did so much money. It did so good. Why do you think it did so good? Because horror in the hood is good. And that's not a fucking racist stereotype or anything like that, because it's look at the numbers. Look at the numbers. Do the numbers lie? The numbers do not lie. The numbers do not lie. All right? Seriously. Do you remember the movie Bones with Snoop Dogg? Where he's going around killing people that killed him in the past? And shit like that. He's trying to get his woman nowadays and shit like that. And then he has a daughter also. Come on, guys. Remember that movie? I mean, I enjoyed that movie. I haven't watched a movie in such a long time. It is in Tubi, the website Tubi. All you have to do is literally log in with your email, and boom, you're there. You don't even have to subscribe and shit like that. I mean, you don't have to pay for it or anything like that. It's just, the only downside is that they will just show ads, and I'd rather have that than pay for it anyways. It's a nice little thing that it has. It doesn't have everything, but it has pretty good horror stuff, to be quite honest with you. I was just going through the horror section. I was like, oh, not bad. A lot of horror stuff is getting recognition now, and there's still a lot of horror stuff that are coming out, you know. And don't forget, what is it? Another horror movie, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. That movie's a horror movie, baby. Hell yeah. It is. It's a horror movie, and I like it. I love it. I love that movie. I do. I really do. I love it. Is it my favorite type of horror movie? No. But I love the style. I love the artwork. And the design of it is great. And the story's not bad. You know? But that's just me. It's Sam Raimi doing his thing. Hell yeah. Seriously. So, that's why I told myself, if Sam Raimi made Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash, I guarantee you, Bruce Campbell would have been like, yeah, let's do that. If Sam Raimi was a part of Freddy vs. Jason 2, he would have been in it. He would have been. We all know he would have. Because he's in everything that he's in. I think mostly, right? So, I'll see you guys later. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Be safe. And continue watching, continue enjoying horror, man. There's different types of horror, like I said. So you can enjoy as much as you want. As much as you can take, basically. Before you vomit, here's a bag. It's all about the horror, baby. Yeah. Mama. That's horror for the water boy right there. His mama.